Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're all having a lovely day. Today I'm going to be doing this video standing up because I honestly prefer not being sedentary. I just prefer being able to stand up and collect my thoughts and, well, also I have to wait for my chair to dry since I just finished cleaning it, so this is a good excuse to do a standing video. Today I'd like to talk about the topic of compromise, people and organizations that never compromise, and what happens when you compromise too much to try to meet somebody in the middle that never budges an inch for you. Everybody watching this video at some point in their life has had to deal with somebody that never compromises. It doesn't matter if you are willing to move mountains for them. They will not move an inch for you. Everything must be done in their timeline, on their schedule, their way, their procedure, or else. And it can become tiring. And now this is one area where I've learned over the course of my life that when I encounter this, I should just stop trying to compromise. Unfortunately, it's not a lesson that I learned when it came to right to repair. There are several states that we are lobbying in at the moment, 3 of them where we have had failures. And what I've noticed is in each one of these states, a compromise was made that I don't believe was particularly a good one. And I'd like to explain what I think was wrong, why it was wrong, and why I think I would prefer to not take this approach again. In Washington, we made several compromises to try and get Microsoft to be neutral to a bill. One compromise was that you would have to have a certain certification for your repair shop in order to get access to parts and diagrams. I want things to be available to all. I don't want there to be a gatekeeping or barrier of a certification, particularly when we're talking about things like CompTIA's A+, which tell you how many FireWire 400 devices you can daisy chain in 2022. My employees out there don't have A+ certifications. They don't have any because the A+, which is going to try to get you to know how many FireWire 400 devices you can daisy chain in 2022, is completely irrelevant knowledge to Steve or Raniera or Chris or Paul when they're trying to get data out of liquid damaged T2 MacBook Pros with a hole in the motherboard. I didn't like that, but fine, we'll deal with one compromise if it means maybe getting something done. The second was that you wouldn't get access to all the stuff that we want access to for the first year, which is really important because when the stuff first comes out, that's when it's the most expensive. That's when people are the most aggravated and paranoid when they break something. And that's also when there are the least amount of parts available on the used market for people like me to buy. That was a compromise that really hit hard, and I did not like that at all. And now, even though Microsoft wound up becoming neutral on the bill, every other company wasn't, and there was so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt, things that were not true that would just make your head spin if I went over them in this video. I could probably go over it for hours, what people were saying about this. That was complete and utter BS, and the bill died. In Illinois, we tried narrowing the scope of the bill because it's been said many times this bill is too broad. It covers too many things. Maybe if it covered less things, we'd be able to pass it. So we decided to try and narrow things to medical devices. Only medical devices. We make a bill specific for this that goes over these specific issues. We will get all the support that we need from these specific hospital organizations because, believe it or not, hospitals actually kind of do want the ability to fix their own equipment. Having to pay $30,000 for a new table when you can just replace the $500 motor in your $30,000 operating table, that saves the hospital a lot of money, and hospitals like to make money. That wound up also dying. In Maryland, we had a bill where there was one particular delegate that is not the biggest fan of mine. I did a video, and I'll just link it down below, where I was talking about the things that I think they got wrong. There were certain things mentioned, like that viruses are being created because people have access to source code, which means there's a security issue. But the Linux kernel, and I mean, the internet is literally run on open source code for the most part. There were many things in that video I thought were untrue. I made a video debunking what I thought was untrue, and he didn't really like that. So my lobbyist and myself said, "Listen, man, we'll travel down. We can work this out in person. I'll apologize in person. I will swallow my pride. I will swallow my ego. I don't care. Listen, this bill is more important than my personal ego or sense of dignity. So I'm more than happy to travel down and say I'm sorry." He said, no, don't worry about it. Water under the bridge. It wasn't. I will leave a video down below. I don't even know if this is something that I should be discussing here at this point. I personally feel like I should not even be breathing life into this kind of political garbage, but if you really want to see what I'm being accused of, I will leave a video down below. And something that I'm learning from this entire experience is that the lesson that I've learned from my own personal relationships and my own personal life for the past 10 years is something that really needs to apply here. When you compromise with somebody who never compromises with you, not only will you not get what you want, but you also lose your sense of personal dignity because you compromised on your principles, you compromised on your morals, you compromised on your laurels, you compromised on your ethics, and at the end of the day, you didn't even get one step closer to getting what you wanted. The only thing worse than compromising incredibly with somebody who never compromises with you and getting half of what you wanted is doing all that compromising, and at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, just fuck it, we're not giving you anything at all. Unfortunately, that's what happened. And that is a lesson that I have learned the hard way. I thought maybe if you try this way, maybe if you try that way, maybe if you give a little here, give a little there, you'll wind up getting somewhere. No. It's very clear and abundantly obvious at this point that when dealing with somebody that will never compromise with you, that it doesn't matter how many compromises you're willing to make, they'll never accept it. And they never will. It sucks, but such is life. So those are the updates for those 3 states. I apologize for not having anything good to report at this point in time. When we do finally have something good to report, I will be happy to. Until then, I will be truthful and honest with you about where we win, where we lose, where we succeed, and where we screw up. And here, again, I thought a little bit of compromise may go somewhere. No, it didn't. And again, just reiterated that lesson in my personal life. Do not compromise with those who will never compromise with you. It gets you nowhere. You need to be willing to simply get up and walk out the door when that happens and not spend 6 months of your life doing all of this only to wind up with, again, it's in the video down below if you want to see for one of the 3 states. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.